I just hear a sound that's like, like puts me in a trance, and then I'll just record it, and I'll take like a little snippet of that and put it into Borderlands Granular.
Hello and welcome to the Sound Test Room. My name is Jakob, I'm your host, and you're watching you're about to watch an interview I did with Aron Lamm. You see, I went down to EMS Studios at Münchenbryggeriet here in Stockholm, and this is a place where people come together, musicians, to make music. So keep watching and you'll discover why Aron Lamm uses the iOS platform to make music. Hear him talk about his deep love for Borderlands Granular. So, who is Aron Lamm?
Well, I've been making music, electronic music for, I don't know, 15 years or something like that, 15, 20 years. I started in the late 90s with hardware synths. We had a big studio. Eventually I moved onto the computer with the VST synths and so on. From that, I moved on to iOS. Basically, it seems like a logical step.
I asked Aron a lot of questions, and one of them was, what made you choose the iOS platform to make music with?
I don't have a lot of time to make music these days, so I basically just it used to be that I had to have like half a day to even get started on something, and I figured that was just the way it was with music. And if I had like an hour or half an hour, I would never sort of start something. But then circumstances changed in my life, so I realized that maybe I only have like an hour here and there. That's what I got to make music, so I have to make the most of it. And that's kind of when I got into iOS. I got fed up with being in front of a computer all the time, because it's like in my day job, I'm always in front of a computer. And I kind of got tired. I also felt that it was getting too easy. I've been using Ableton Live a lot, and at a certain point, there was just no resistance anymore. It was just everything was so easy to do. And I just wanted a more sort of limited environment to work in.
Now, I was curious to find out what made him into the musician he is today, his musical background, the kinds of music he used to listen to.
Nowadays, I'm leaning towards some kind of ambient sound. I'm mostly sort of influenced music-wise, I guess, from some like really classical ambient, like Brian Eno. I've listened a lot to The Orb when I was younger, that type of stuff. Aphex Twin and attaQ, some of the early Warp stuff. I guess you can hear a little bit of that in my music as well.
Now, a lot of us musicians have fallen in love with Borderlands Granular, and Aron is no exception.
I'm into sounds that I like to sort of just deconstruct stuff down to like little bits of noise and like scraps, I don't know, and then try to sort of build something from it again. And lately I didn't used to have a lot of found sounds, or like recorded sounds, natural sounds. I was almost like, my first album was almost exclusively instruments, like synthesizers. I'm getting more and more into like drones, different kind of drones. So I've been recording a lot, like I'll hear like a really sweet engine on a ship or something. I'll just hear a sound that's like, like puts me in a trance, and then I'll just record it, and I'll take like a little snippet of that and put it into Borderlands Granular. Well, I just sort of experiment. That's what's so fun about Borderlands Granular, that it's like a playground. You just play around with stuff. You like move them around and you tweak a little bit here and a little bit there. And I mean, I understand that you can do pretty advanced stuff with it if you're really sort of organized about it. I've seen some videos, but for me, the funny part is just like making stuff that is like really random. It has a certain vibe, but it just keeps changing all the time. Something I've really been getting into now is like using drum loops in Granular, so that it's basically not drums. It doesn't really sound like drums. It sounds like little, I don't know, things falling over and stuff like that. It's an amazing app. I don't know what took me so long to discover it, really, because I understand it's been around for a while. And I'm really into that type of granular, like anything that just messes things up.
We were actually 3 people in the studio that day that we had the interview. Aron was there for a specific purpose, to meet up with another musician's friend of his named Andrea Fantuzzi. I hope I got that right. So I naturally asked him about collaborations.
I'm going to be working on a track with my very good friend Andrea. We're like old colleagues. We've been doing some stuff together before. He's a really, really talented musician. He plays like saxophone, clarinet, so he's going to be doing some clarinet overdubs on one of my tracks. I had this idea with one of my tracks that I felt like it needed a saxophone solo. Because it sounded kind of like, again, that was something I did in Borderlands Granular. And I had some kind of jam going on. I think I probably had like a recording of my fridge when I was defrosting it or something, and for some reason that sounded like there was like this really crazy free-form jazz drummer like over in the neighborhood space, like the neighbor's basement or something. So I just felt like, wait a minute, there's some jazz thing happening deep in there, and I was just like, that needs a saxophone. So this is basically the first time I'm letting someone else into this particular project, because like I said, it's something I do whenever I have a little time, and then maybe once in a while I'll have 1 or 2 days when I'll just put everything together that I've been working on. It's pretty exciting to get another sound and get like a really good musician to do his thing on this as well, see what that sort of brings to the mix.
Naturally, I had to ask Aron about his workflow.
When I'm working with external stuff, and also for mixing, I usually use Ableton. I just do like really minimal mixing. I have been working a little bit in Aurea, but I don't really like it. I think it's a bit fiddly still. So I'm kind of waiting for a really good recording workstation. Usually I just record like one track into audio share. And then I'll sort of, if I want to add something to it, I'll just put that track into Aurea and I'll add something. Sort of crude way of working.
Towards the end of the interview, Aron told me something interesting about the track that him and Andrea was working on in the studio.
I remember I was recording it when the train got cancelled in the middle of the night. So I was just like sitting somewhere and I didn't know where I was when there was gonna be a train or a bus or something to pick me up. So I had a little extra time. So I did this track, like a little jam thing, and hopefully it's gonna be enhanced now with some clarinet.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gents. Aron Lamm. Now, if you look down in the description, you can find links to Aron's music. As usual, Dog Woods, Colin Sweeney, and me, Jakob at thesoundsystem.com, wishes you a very productive week. Now, go finger your surfaces and have a lot of fun doing it.